The Language of Dreams. Chapter 1. A New Beginning. Omar lived in a small coastal town where the sea was always blue and the wind carried the smell of salt and coffee. He worked at a cafe near the beach. Every morning he swept the floor, cleaned the tables, and served hot tea to people from many countries. Some smiled and said, "Good morning," in English. Omar smiled back, but deep inside he wished he could say more than just a few words. He had always loved languages, but in school English had been difficult. The words looked strange, and his classmates laughed when he made mistakes. After he finished school, Omar stopped studying and focused on work. But every time he met a traveler who spoke English, his heart reminded him of his forgotten dream, to speak English and see the world. One evening after closing the cafe, Omar sat on a wooden bench under the soft orange light of the sunset. The sea was calm, and the waves whispered softly along the shore. He opened a small notebook that he always carried in his pocket. The first few pages were empty. Then he took a pen and wrote slowly, "One day I will speak English fluently. One day I will travel far and meet people from all over the world." From that day, everything changed. The next morning, Omar woke up early. He opened his phone and searched for how to learn English for free. Soon he found videos of people teaching basic lessons. The first video said, "Start small, practice every day." So that's what he did. At work, when there were no customers, he whispered new words to himself. "Hello, my name is Omar. I am from Saudi Arabia. I like to learn English." Sometimes his co-workers laughed a little. "Omar, are you talking to yourself again?" They teased. But Omar just smiled and said, "Yes, I'm talking to my future." One day an old tourist came into the cafe. He had white hair, kind eyes, and spoke gently. His name was Mr. Lewis, and he came from England. When Omar brought his tea, he said in slow English, "Thank you, young man." Omar took a deep breath and replied, "You're welcome." Mr. Lewis smiled. "Ah, you speak English?" "A little," Omar said shyly. "You're learning, aren't you?" the man asked. Omar nodded. "That's wonderful. Just keep going. English is like the sea. If you stop swimming, you go back. But if you keep moving, you'll reach a new world." Those words stayed in Omar's mind for days. He thought about them when he was tired, when he wanted to quit, and when the lessons felt too hard. Every night before sleeping, he practiced what he learned during the day. He didn't have fancy notebooks or a strong internet connection, but he had determination. Weeks turned into months. Omar understood more words now. He could greet people, ask simple questions, and even help tourists order food. The first time he gave directions in English, he felt proud. "Go straight and then turn right," he said with confidence, and the tourists smiled in thanks. That night, when he came home, Omar looked at his reflection in the small mirror on the wall. "You did it," he told himself. "You spoke English today." It wasn't perfect yet, but it was real. The promise he had written in his notebook was no longer just a dream. It was becoming true, slowly, step by step. And as he lay in bed, he whispered to himself with a smile, "This is only the beginning." Chapter 2. The Struggle and the Spark. Omar's English was getting better day by day. He could understand short conversations and even read simple stories online. Every little success made him happy, but soon he learned that every dream comes with challenges. One day the cafe got a new manager. His name was Karim, a strict man who didn't like people using their phones at work. "Focus on your job, not your phone," he said loudly. Omar tried to explain that he used his phone to study English during quiet hours, but Karim just shook his head. "Study after work. Here you work." It was hard. Omar worked from morning until late evening. When he got home, he was tired and sleepy. Sometimes he opened his notebook, but his eyes closed before he could finish his first exercise. Slowly, his study time became shorter. Weeks passed, and Omar started to lose the rhythm of practice. His English words began to fade. One night, after another long day, Omar sat by his window, listening to the sea outside. He opened his old notebook again. The words he had written on the first page looked back at him. "One day I will speak English fluently. One day I will travel far and meet people." He sighed. Maybe it's too hard, he thought. Maybe English isn't for me. At that moment, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Mr. Lewis, the old tourist who had visited months ago. Omar had given him tea with a smile, and before leaving, Mr. Lewis had asked for Omar's number to stay in touch. The message said, "Hello, Omar. I hope you are doing well, my friend. I'm writing an article about my travels. Could I mention you? You inspired me with your kindness and your dream to learn English." Omar stared at the message for a long time. I inspired him, he thought in surprise. A small smile appeared on his face. Then he replied, using the best English he could manage, "Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I'm still learning. Sometimes it is hard, but I don't give up." A few minutes later, another message arrived. "Good, never give up. Every big mountain starts with one small step. Keep walking, Omar." Those words felt like sunlight after a long night. Omar closed his eyes and let the motivation return to his heart. "Yes," he whispered, "I will keep walking." The next morning he made a plan. He decided to wake up 1 hour earlier each day. The world was quiet at that time. No cars, no noise, just peace. He made tea, opened his notebook, and began to practice again. He listened to English songs with easy words, wrote daily sentences, and repeated vocabulary while walking to work. Slowly, English started to come back to him like waves returning to the shore. He even found a small online group for English learners. People from many countries joined the chat: India, Brazil, Egypt, and Indonesia. They all wanted the same thing: to speak English better. Omar made friends there, and they encouraged each other. "Don't stop, Omar," a friend from Indonesia typed. "You can do it." Those simple words gave him power. Omar realized he was not alone in his journey. Millions of people around the world were learning English too. Everyone struggled, everyone made mistakes, but they all kept moving forward, together. Months passed again, and one day Karim, the manager, called Omar. He looked serious. "Omar, we have some visitors from America tomorrow," Karim said. "They don't speak Arabic. I need someone who can talk to them. Can you handle it?" Omar's heart raced. "Me?" he asked. "Yes, you," Karim replied. "I've heard you practicing English. Let's see if it works." That night, Omar felt nervous but excited. He stood in front of the mirror, practicing over and over. "Hello, welcome to the cafe. Would you like tea or coffee? Please have a seat." The next day, the visitors arrived. Omar smiled brightly, greeted them in English, and helped them order. His voice shook a little at first, but he stayed calm. The customers were kind and patient. By the end of their visit, they said, "Your English is very good." Omar's smile widened. For the first time, he felt not just like a waiter, but like someone who could connect with the world. That night, as he walked home under the stars, he felt stronger than ever. His dream was alive again. He realized something important. The most beautiful journeys are never easy, but they are always worth it. He opened his notebook once again and wrote a new line under his first promise. "No matter how hard it becomes, I will never stop learning." The long road to the Dream Inn, a busy city near the sea, there lived a young man named Sammy. He worked long hours in a small shop that sold phones and phone accessories. Every day, people came in speaking different languages. Some spoke Arabic like him. Some spoke English. When he heard English, his heart beat a little faster. He loved the sound of it, but he did not understand much. Sammy had a secret. Deep inside, he carried a dream that almost nobody knew. He wanted to speak English very well, not just a few phrases, but real, natural English. He wanted to work online, talk with people from many countries, and one day travel abroad for study or work. When he closed his eyes at night, he imagined himself in another country, walking confidently, asking for directions, making friends and using English easily. But when he opened his eyes in the morning, the reality was different. His alarm rang at 7 a.m. He washed, prayed, ate a quick breakfast, and went to the shop. He came home late, tired, sometimes with a headache. "How can I find time and energy to learn?" he often asked himself. Still, the dream stayed in his heart, quietly calling him. One evening, when the shop was empty, Sammy opened a box of new earphones to test them. He connected them to his phone and opened a random video on the internet. It was a short motivational talk in English with subtitles. A man was saying, "You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Small steps every day can change your whole life." Sammy paused the video and whispered, "Small steps. Maybe that's what I need." That night after dinner, he made a simple plan. He took a small notebook, wrote today's date at the top, and then wrote one sentence in English. "I will learn English every day, even if I am tired." The sentence was not perfect, but it was honest. It was a promise to himself. Sammy's story is not magic. He did not have special talent, a lot of money, or perfect conditions. He had something more powerful, a small promise written in a notebook, and the courage to keep that promise, even on bad days.